women are divisive, and women have a tendency to, not all the time, but they can isolate man, and they're very demanding about a man's attention.
Woman is there to tempt the man. Look at the Garden of Eden, right? Eve was the one that gave the apple to Adam. There were times where on teams, the rule was, if you're gonna be on this team, no fucking girls, because as soon as they got involved, it was all over, dude. Oh my God. And she brings up the Jewish media, Hollywood, Jewish-owned media as an example of how men should act. Like, come on, are you even trying at this point? Are we gonna, where's the ancestry? Now I want to see the 23andMe, because I don't know. Unbelievable.
She's not even trying anymore.
Unbelievable.
Do you think that men can handle having 10,000 women in their inbox asking for sex? Do you think men can, like, their brains can handle that?
Of course.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be a hard? That was such a woman question. Do you think you could handle so many women wanting to fuck you?
Wait,
do you know what that would even be like?
I'm not
so many
done.
women propositioning you for sex, and like every man is listening right now. Like, what the fuck kind of dumbass fucking question is this? Like,
even more.
all women do are divide people. They bring drama. That's the issue. You're saying women need to be in Fuentes' movement. Doesn't Fuentes' movement blame the feminization of men as like rotting and toxifying so many of these movements? Why would they want to include that element? Day one, you've got women involved. Day two, you got people saying shit like diversity might be our greatest strength. I don't know. Okay,
you know that joke?
He's right.
You know that joke
misses.
about how men can always do things better than women? They're even like winning Woman of the Year and everything because of what's Jenner? Jenner won like Woman of the Year, and then you've got them beating all the women's sports. So I gotta say, I think you don't need any women in your movement because you're beating all of us with your drama mongering all by yourselves. With just men in your movement,
good.
Nick. You did a great job there.
No, but it was started over girls. I'm sure it was the wives.
But was
positive?
Was Jaden's girlfriend involved in it at all, or did she just exist peripherally?
But that's the thing. Look, just the fact that they exist is enough to cause problems. The fact that you even have to ask that question.
Amen.
If there was a man involved in this drama, would you be like, well, was it the fact that, you know, he did something, or was it just his existence? People are like, why would the existence of a man cause problems? But when somebody says there was a woman, oh, that's enough. You don't even need to tell me anything more. Like, if there was a woman involved, obviously shit is fucked. Like, yeah, I guess so.
Now, is that because men can't control themselves when they're exposed to women?
Yeah, and
Okay,
that's
all
something
right,
that,
I respect that.
needs to be considered.
I respect that.
And well, in women, and that is true. I also think though women are divisive, and women have a tendency to, not all the time, but they can isolate man, and they're very demanding about a man's attention and those kinds of things. So it's not that the woman is absolved, but.
Woman is there to tempt the man. Look at the Garden of Eden, right? Eve was the one that gave the apple to Adam. A man's test is a woman. You have to be able to resist and figure your path forward. That's what we do, you know? A woman's test
You
is
and
material.
me, Destiny.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
So
Let's fucking go.
was Jaden's girlfriend a government honeypot to tear apart the Groypers? Is that what the theory is here? She just does it without even knowing it's happening. Women just emanate drama.
It was him. He was a simp, and I should have known better because he was
but he's
total
not a
simp
woman.
energy. So what?
He's okay. So men can cause drama too, is what you're suggesting.
Well, it's because of their weakness towards women, and that becomes a liability. And I should have known that. I mean, I remember I told the story on a stream. This is how bad it was. Me, Jaden, the buddy of ours, we went down to Florida. We drove there because I was on the no-fly list at the time. And he was texting her the whole time, Snapchatting, texting her, which is whatever. We drive back up to Chicago, okay? And it's a 23-hour drive because there was a blizzard. It's normally a 17-hour drive, but there was a blizzard. We hit this huge, like, historic snowstorm when we're in Indiana. And it's like 15 miles an hour on the highway from Indianapolis to Chicago. So a 17-hour to a 23-hour drive. So we pull over in Indiana, and we're like not even close. And I go to the gas station to get food or whatever, and he goes to my buddy in the car. He goes, hey, should I just like call an Uber over to my girlfriend's house like right now? Because she lived like a couple hours south of Chicago. In a blizzard! We're in a blizzard! We just drove 17 hours. We're like close, and he wants to get out and call an Uber in the middle of this snowstorm to Uber to Urbana-Champaign so he could spend the weekend with the girlfriend because it's her birthday or whatever.
That's cute. No, wait, no, it's way more. Okay,
it gets better. So this is like insane behavior. So then we finish the drive, 23 hours. 23 hours in the car, no sleep, no stops, no nothing. We pull up, we're unloading some boxes and everything. We brought some stuff back from Florida. He races out of the car, shovels the driveway, jumps in the car the second we get home, and drives 3 hours, another 3 hours south. Couldn't wait the day, couldn't wait till the next day, drive 3 more hours south so we could visit the GF.
But you know, you say that like from a woman's perspective, you're like describing Noah from The Notebook. He'll build you a house. He'll do all these wonderful things.
Yeah, this is exactly why they need to not be involved. Oh my God. And she brings up the Jewish media, Hollywood, Jewish-owned media as an example of how men should act. Like, come on, are you even trying at this point? Are we gonna? Where's the ancestry? Now I want to see the 23andMe because I don't know.
Cover.
Unbelievable.
She's not even trying anymore.
Unbelievable. You know, there was a time as a professional esports player, I will say a long time ago, there was a time where you could trace the career of any man through esports based on his relationships. You know, you're watching a guy, Huck goes over to Korea, plays. Wow, he had a really shitty performance this tournament. What happened? Oh, he broke up with his girlfriend. This guy is on a fucking high. Oh, he's got a woman. Oh, this guy just girlfriend breaks up, girlfriend drama. All of the tournament performances go to shit. There were times where on teams, the rule was, if you're going to be on this team, no fucking girls. Because as soon as they got involved, it was all over, dude. 100%.
Someone just super chatted me saying this is like watching an autistic family sitting down for dinner. Great. Wonderful.
Oh, good. They're the Jesse Pinkman to our white family, I guess.
No, but okay. Okay. But you want to get married one day, Nick. Don't you? Like, wouldn't you want, if you have a wife, wouldn't you want to love her so much that you'd want to be with her on her birthday, even if it were in a snowstorm?
If she's my wife, if she's the mother of my kids, not some woman that I've been texting for a month on Instagram, which is, and by the way, and this may be part of the problem as well, she texted me first. That was the kicker. Yeah, she texted me on Instagram.
Hold on. Wait, Nick, wait a second. That changes everything. Now you're making it sound like the issue was that you wanted to be the one driving 4 hours to see her. And you wanted to be the one asking her.
No.
Wait a second. Hold on. Why does it matter that she texted you first, Nick?
Because he was very bothered by that.
Was he?
Or
were you bothered by it? He was the one that got her in the end. Why does it matter?
I don't like 5 out of 10s. Okay.
Yeah. Really.
Wait. What's this girl's Instagram?
Publish the DMs. Publish the DMs. Let's see you not responding to her. I want to see that.
Well, I was on his old Instagram account.
Oh yeah.
I don't have it. No, but
she goes to a different school. No. Don't worry about it.
Let me tell you the story because it will shine some light on it. So he tells me, "Oh, I'm talking to this girl," and I said, "That's great." I said, "Good for you." And he goes, "You want to see her?" I said, "Sure." So he shows me, and I said, "Oh," I said, "I think I've seen her before." I said, "I'm not sure, but she looks familiar." And he goes, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I think she DM'd me one time. I think she replied to my story." And he's like, "No, that's impossible. No, she doesn't even like you." And I was like, "Oh, okay, geez." I said, I thought the name rings a bell. I thought I saw her before. And I was almost certain that I had seen her before. So he comes back 2 weeks later. And he's like, "Oh yeah, like I guess she did DM you." And I was like, "Oh really? What did she say?" And he goes, "Oh, she replied to your story one time, and she watches your show." So I never replied to her. She replied to my story. She was in the I didn't accept the message request. It's not really gawky, not really my type. But anyway, so and then that kept being brought up. We me and my buddy kept ribbing him about that.
This girl was a 5 out of 10. But you glimpsed this picture, and you're like, I remember her.
Yeah, I recognized her.
She was the one. How do you remember a 5 out of 10 that responded? You got the response on Instagram. You clicked through her shit. You watched her stories. You remember the picture. You remember
on the profile, and I said, nah. I said, nah, not for me.
All right, okay.
Bro. He'll attest to that. I mean,
listen,
it's not
sounds
like
a cope like earlier, okay?
The details are not in dispute. We could subpoena her. She'll probably be involved in a civil suit.
Well, at this point, with as many people as dug through your text messages, I could probably text you to the FBI and figure out if you actually responded or not.
Hey, I'm fine with that. Yeah, maybe it'll come out in Congress. Maybe it'll come out in the January 6th hearings.
I'll call my handlers and get a confirmation on that, Steven. Don't worry.
Okay.
So there's all these confounding things. This is what happens. This is what happens when. That's why I've said for years, no e-girls.
E-boys,
no e-girls,
okay. Can we talk about how e-boys are just as much of a problem though?
No.
Well, we're gonna talk about it. So that's too bad. Sit down, Nick. You're the youngest at the table in this autistic family.
Sitting.
So yeah, get your
All right, mommy. Let's whip something up. Whip something up for me.
You're about to get whipped here. Let's see it. Okay, onto the e-boy question.
Do you think that men can handle having 10,000 women in their inbox asking for sex? Do you think men can, like, their brains can handle that?
Well, I know I can handle that.
Absolutely, yes. Of course.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be a hard? That was such a woman question. Do you think you could handle so many women wanting to fuck you?
Wait,
Do you know what that would even be
wait.
like?
I'm not
so many
done.
women propositioning you for sex, and like every man is listening right now. Like, what the fuck kind of dumbass fucking question is this? Like, yes, fuck me to death, all the 10,000 women at once. Yeah.
What I'm trying to get to is I obviously know a lot of women in the political movement, and a lot of women in the political movement date men in the political movement. I'm not going to get into anyone's shit right now, but I've always ended up on the other side of this, the one you guys don't see, with girls crying in my arms, vice versa, over some e-boy that they had one back and forth fight, or she did something you didn't like, which happens in relationships, right? You have disagreements, you work through them, and the guy will just end the relationship because they've got 10,000 other women ready to have sex in their inbox. There's no incentive to try to repair the relationship.
Fucked.
And their brain is like so like wired towards Coomer Instagram DMs rather than trying to make a relationship and community work because, you know, they've just got so much attention.
I can't imagine
With
trying
women,
to like go after somebody when they've got 10,000 other potential matches on Tinder that at any moment could step up. I don't know. Yeah, that's true. We should be empathetic towards women on that one. That's a rough one right there.
When it comes,
He doesn't miss. He doesn't miss.
I mean, what's that like, you know?
when it comes to women, like even a woman that is like a 1 out of 10 that has no followers on anything, she's still going to have like 40 Indian men asking to see boob and vagine, right? And so like women kind of get this mechanism to just ignore. I'm not sure men have that capability to like just ignore women that are coming onto them. And part of the theory that you've put forward, Nick, is that they don't have that capability. They can't control themselves around women. So with e-boys, when they've got a bajillion women coming onto them, I don't think they can control themselves even less because they've got so many women up in their shit.
Yeah, some can't. Then that's a problem. That's a problem if you're trying to be in an organization like this. The
I mean,
problem
like, well, what is the issue on the man side? When you're on Tinder, when you're talking to a girl, you are one of 1,000 in that inbox. And you have to do everything within your fucking power to like bring this woman within your orbit and hold on to her, knowing that at all points in time, you're competing with 20,000 other dicks that are orbiting her. It might be friends, it might be fucking family, depending on where you're from. It might be other people on Tinder. All this shit is going on, okay? You're dealing with all of this, right? And on the and sometimes I guess on the man side, like what is the I don't understand what's the counter? Like men deal with this every single time. It's like on the other end, I guess women expect to just show up and be rewarded infinitely with a permanent relationship without any work whatsoever. Is that the other position?
No, it's a problem on both sides, of course. There has to be some form of commitment. I just think when you guys talk so openly about men having so much trouble being around women, to the point that they can't even do politics if there is a woman on the peripheral and it all just collapses. I can't imagine how much more that would just mess with a man's mind to have thousands of women in their inboxes 24/7 begging for their attention.
Well, I think the difference is because men, like the success of a man in life isn't measured by their relationship. Like women aren't distracted by men because men are the distraction of women. Women are distracting to men because the distraction to men is the career. That's what the focus has to be on.
Very red-pilled and misogynistic for the progressive in the chat.
The goal of the woman is to just end up in a good relationship. So it's like, well, isn't it confusing for a woman's life if she's like constantly confused by men? No, men are the mission. For men, women are the distraction.
Yes!
Okay, hold on. I need to drink something because I need to switch
What?
to Red Bull shit. Hold on, you guys. I'll be back. One
This
second.
Why
guy's
is
a genius.
He's supposed to be the progressive on this panel? What is going on here? I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with a lot of what is being said. Like, I can see the truth in it, but damn, what is going on? Nick, what are you doing to Steven?
He's more right-wing than me. I've been saying this for a long time. Everyone thought it was a joke when I called him Steven the Swastika Bonnell. People are realizing it was never a joke. I saw something that no one else saw, and I saw his potential.
We can't have this show if we don't have a progressive. I don't want to be the most left-wing person on the show. I don't like that. That's uncomfortable.
I am his apprentice. I pledge myself to his teachings.
Someone in my chat, actually, I wanted to ask about this too, because this is like a big drama about you, and someone just super chatted it. I'm gonna give you the floor. I'm not gonna, drama. All right, Canadian.
All right.
Of course, you're the quote unquote man in the arena, so kind of the criticisms that Steve and I are giving are from the peripheral, and you're the one living it, so I can't judge too hard. But one of the big criticisms of you is that you allegedly brought a black light into your followers' rooms. Is that what is with that?
That was a thrive. I love that was made into such a big thing. I'm in a group chat with like 20 of my friends, and so he moved out of the apartment that I own, and I said, and the screenshots are posted, so it's all out there. You know, the basis for that. This turned into some stupid joke. But I said, oh yeah, this jagoff, he lives in my building rent-free for 18 months and leaves his cum-covered furniture all over the place because he was having sex with his girlfriend there, I presume. I said, I'm going to have to go in there with a black light and see what's going on. That's it. I didn't actually do that. That was a joke in a group chat. And then, you know, Mr. Medicare, who I don't even think is funny, blows that up into some ridiculous
Medicare's
joke.
funny. You can't pretend, even if you have a fight with him, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. But okay, so you weren't physically
These are mortal enemies that you're talking about right now. Okay.
You can't physically pull. You didn't physically pull out a black light and like go through people's rooms that stayed at your house.
No,
okay.
I said, like I said, okay. I said the dude's in, and the screenshot's out there. So
you know, people do a lot of creative writing about your life on the internet when you're a public figure.
They just write fan fiction. They write fan fiction. They can't find anything real, so they write fan fiction. So
it is more exciting.
So
can't say I haven't had my share of fanfics. Okay.
Real.
Well, I've got to head to another chat in about 15 minutes here. But
where do you live these days? Do you live in America?
Yeah, I'm living in Israel right now, Nick. With my handlers. Tel Aviv.
No, really.
Actually.
You don't have to dox if I was just wondering.
Yeah. No, I'm dealing with some visa issues, so I don't talk about
no dox. I was just curious because I'm about to visit Steven pretty soon. He's invited to my birthday party. It's at Chuck E. Cheese.
Did you not? You didn't invite me to your birthday party, Nick?
Well, I don't even know where you won't even tell me where you live. Also, no girls allowed. It's a boys'
True.
Party.
And Jews
as well. If I bring my Canadian ID.
Yeah, no Jews at the.
Sorry,
this guy. I love this guy. So it's like so based.
Okay, hold on. Wait, I'm center left, far left now. Okay. Switch gears, Nick.
Okay.
Multiple personality disorder.
Come at you hard. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Don't you think it shows a lack of discipline or a lack of ability to engage with the real world if you can't handle women as part of your movement? Isn't that kind of an important part of the world? Is like 51% of the population is women. Doesn't it reflect poorly on you when you can't handle that? When I say you, I mean in the general sense of like your movement.
I wouldn't say it's a question of not being able to handle it because we have a lot of people that are married. Frankly, you know, I think.
No, hold on. No. Don't hold on.
Why?
Don't dodge with boring.
Why is that a dodge?
Because I'm not talking about people that are married. I'm talking about free women that are bouncing around. Okay, men that are bouncing around should be capable of working alongside one another or existing alongside one another without it causing a shitstorm. Shouldn't that be possible?
I don't think it is. I don't think it's possible anywhere. I don't think it's possible in the workplace. I don't think it's and the thing is, we're in a high stakes political thing where we're under like fucking FBI investigation.
Yeah, but like, look at yourself. When we talk about high stakes, what does it mean when we talk about high stakes? Usually when you're talking about high stakes, it's like fucking every man, woman, and child is grabbing a spear and stabbing somebody, right? But you're saying we're in high stakes and we're going to start that high stakes fight off by cutting off 51% of possible new recruits and whatever man would want to be involved in a movement that would want women involved as well, right? Like, are you willing to sacrifice 10,000 new members for one new zealot? Because that's what it sounds like the trade you're making is.
And it's not about trading off women for zealots. It's about the fact that like women being in an organization is just dysfunctional, especially a high pressure organization. Whenever you have women in a workplace, you have reindeer games. Every time you have a woman in a company, everybody knows this. And Lauren Southern can attest to this because she was in the European right-wing scene. It's incestuous. I was on a model United Nations team in high school, and we couldn't have girls without guys kissing this girl and this girl kissing that. And it turned into this big incestuous thing. And that happens in the workplace, that happens in school, that happens on teams. And that's fine if you're working at Burger King. That's fine if you're doing something that's not serious. But when you're involved in something where like the federal law enforcement is breathing down your neck, and it's censorship and it's doxing and it's this kind of stuff. You can't actually afford that level of insecurity.
But every major political movement, every major corporation, every major team, even though there are problems, has found a way to incorporate women on it.
Not true.
Much like you said earlier, and it was wise, that when we were trying to say you should cut down on the edginess, you're like, I don't like it when people say just because one aspect of a thing doesn't work, it ought to be cut out completely. There are troubles integrating women with men. That's true. It's a huge issue, and there are problems alongside it. But the reason why people do it is because there's a huge potential upside as well. There's a whole well of untapped talent. There's a whole extra fan base of people that you can raise money off of, you can raise viewership off of, you can attract other people into your movement off of. Don't you think that there might be a potential upside there that's worth all the, frail and fuck of like having women involved in your movement? Like, is it not worth?
No, because believe me, it's an existential threat, and the
women are an existential threat.
Yeah,
we're that powerful against the Groypers. We're the kryptonite to the Groypers.
It's of anything.
Apparently.
I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Kevin McCarthy. Mm-hmm. Kevin McCarthy should have been the Speaker of the United States House of Representatives, which is his fucking lifelong ambition. In whatever year it was that Boehner stepped down and Paul Ryan stepped up. I think that was 16 or 18. And anyway, and he didn't because there's this big scandal about him like cheating on his wife or something. Okay, this is something that happens constantly.
Wait, is that his fault or the woman's fault?
At a high level. Okay, listen. Okay, it's not about you for 1 second.
No. It's not about me at all. I'm asking if he cheated on his wife, wouldn't you see that as a moral failing within your Christian worldview? And the man should take responsibility because when you sin and you make a mistake, the best thing you can do is take personal responsibility instead of blaming the people around you.
We need to avoid occasion for sin, an occasion where temptation will occur. And women being involved in these kinds of things, it literally serves no other purpose other than as a breeding ground. You bring women into college, you bring women into the workforce so that they can find husbands. And, that's fine and all, but you can't have that playing out in a
you dodged the question I was just asking.
Women shouldn't be in combat.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean...
But you're still dodging the question I was asking before. Isn't that McCarthy's failing, not... women's failing?
I'm not interested in quote unquote whose fault it is. The problem is we're trying to create.
Well, no, that's the whole question. That's the whole question here. It's who's causing the problem.
To draw a parallel, right? We all know you guys know it because you probably type it on fucking your 4chan every day. What you know the despite thing. Despite making up X% of the population, black people commit Y% of the crimes, whatever, right? When you talk to a person on the left, their response is, well, yeah, of course. Look at the environments they're in that are causing them to make those decisions, right? Whether it's poverty, whether it's differences in income, whether it's lack of education, job opportunities, broken families, whatever. People on the left will point to all these environmental circumstances. And you guys, both of you, will say things like, well, that doesn't matter. You just need to rise above. You need to be better. You need to blah, 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 blah. And you're telling me that one man can't even overcome one woman that wants to suck his dick? Like, on what ground can you possibly tell anybody or compel anybody to any sort of moral, calling or any sort of virtuous behavior if you can't even resist a woman?
Okay, but that's the thing. We're not saying that a person can't or can't be expected to. I don't. I'm a celibate, asexual.
Not talking about you.
Incel.
This ain't about you. You just said to Lauren, this isn't about you. This isn't about you. I'm just saying that shouldn't men be able to exist around women without going crazy?
They should be, but unfortunately, the fact of the matter is that is just borne out to be a problem every single time. And the thing is, we just fundamentally disagree. I don't believe that women are offering this huge contribution or something. I think that politics is a male domain. Historically, politics has always been a male domain. And if you look at any revolutionary movement, if you look at the Marxist Social Democratic Labor Party in the early 20th century, there weren't a ton of women in there. And if you look at the Iranian Revolution, if you look at any of these revolutions, you never had women in the salons. You never had women in any of these places.
That's true.
Where the revolutions
in
were
Iran,
happening.
women aren't part of the Ayatollah or part of the, the Muslim Caliphate. That's true. Are those the standards that you're holding yourself up?
Russia,
sure. Just traditionally, women haven't participated in a lot of male-dominated society. That's true. Those standards have changed over time, and it seems like they have, because women participate across all areas of society. They participate politically, scientifically. You say that people haven't changed, but much like the question I would pose to the communists. Where are all of your communist societies that are flourishing? Where the fuck are all these male-dominated societies that are flourishing? Seems like most people have opened the doors to allow women to at least be able to participate.
China, Russia,
to be able to
Turkey.
Participate.
Russia don't kick women out of politics. They're quite high level, but they all reject feminism there. It's basically when I went to Russia and I was speaking to women involved in politics there, they all were completely baffled by the idea of feminism because in their society, it's just egalitarian. If you, or not egalitarian, sorry, it's based on your performance. So if you're doing the best, you're going to make it to the top, and some women do, lots of women don't, but they're just a society that allow women to compete, but don't have the same handicaps that we put in the West, which has caused a lot of animosity towards women. So when you point to Russia, you actually are pointing to a society that does include women in a way that I think is the most positive.
That is ridiculous. Russia is not a feminist society.
I didn't say that.
Society.
I didn't say that. No one said that. I said it was the opposite.
Show me all the women participating in the highest levels of Russian government. It's not there. I mean, that's just not even true.
There are there are women at the highest levels,
but they can like one of the most like decorated fucking snipers of all time was that Pavlichenko woman who killed like 300 fucking people in the military. And that was in the 60s, right? So even in Russia, even in the military, where you would expect only the male men, even in Russia, women are participating at levels that they traditionally didn't in human history. So I mean, standards have changed. And again, looking around the world, 2,000 years ago, there weren't successful capitalist societies. 200 years ago, there might have been successful, like, all-male societies. But it seems like as the world changes, more women participating in more areas of society has led to more flourishing in these countries. I just don't see these ultra-patriarchal countries that are doing so well that are like these are the standards by which we should compare ourselves.
I think,
again, much the same I challenge the communists. We're all the successful communist countries. Where all of the successful men only run these countries.
I would totally disagree, because the more patriarchal countries are the ones that are advancing, and the ones that are more feminist are collapsing. Like the United States, look at our vice president. Look at Kamala Harris.
You can say, look at our vice president. The United
Pelosi.
States in collapse is 100 times more successful than Russia thriving. So, like, is that really the standard that you want to...
Because of where we came from. Because of... You could say that, but it's in motion. It's dynamic. Yeah, America is bigger than Russia. That's because America's got 200 years of... Basically, it's a white ethno-state on the North American continent. And just in the last 50 years, or 30 or 40, wherever you want to say it started... That is when things started to turn around, and as a consequence, now we're headed in the wrong direction. So you can't say,
I don't even know if you say that's
credit for 400 years.
I don't even know if you say that's when it started to turn around. Even you citing the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was an incredibly progressive place. Like they didn't have to deal with the same racial issues in the United States, but they pushed women like a motherfucker in the Soviet Union because that was part of their like all workers are fucking equal. I'm pretty sure in Russian politics today or in Russian corporations today, women are overrepresented because of the huge pushes that the Soviet Union made up through the early 90s in order to push women to these positions. So even that shining example is an example where like women are doing really well. And if you go to these like even third world countries where people get fucked, one of the easiest ways to inject more capital and make these places more successful is usually to empower women to do things. It's like investment in women businesses that allow them to participate in education and the economy. Like you're doubling your population in terms of who could potentially contribute to the well-being of your nation rather than just having like baby making machines.
Okay, but what are we actually talking about here? Because if you look at the Soviet Politburo, there's no women. And if you look at the Standing Committee in China, there's no women. I agree with you. There were women working, and the Soviet Union was, Marxists generally think that sexism and patriarchy
the central bank of Russia is literally ran by a woman right now. I mean, like they exist in Russia.
You can throw some arbitrary thing, but you brought up the Soviet Union in particular. We're talking about political leadership. We're talking about revolutionaries. We're not talking about feminism broadly in the society or women working in a factory or there was a woman sniper in the military. We're talking about a political movement under siege, high pressure environment, whether women should be involved at the highest levels. And I've said that the answer, as a rule, should be no. Now, obviously, there are some exceptions. We have people like Michelle Malkin. She's on the board of the foundation. We're supporting Laurel Loomer for her candidacy in Florida. We're supporting Marjorie Taylor Greene. We've got women on the intern program. But the idea that it should be a co-ed space, the idea that it should be a rule that women and men are going to be working side by side as a rule and consistently.
So you just want to have like a sister organization
confused.
for women then?
Wait, if you're supporting Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's necessarily working with men. So isn't that going against your own ideology? Because she's going to be in government working alongside men. I know you're face-palming right now, but wouldn't it be more consistent to just reject her entirely?
No, it would not be consistent because what we're after, by the way, is total victory. We're after victory at any cost, and we have to work with what we have. And what we have is this.
So that's
but that's what we've been saying the whole time. Is women can vote, so you have to work with what you have. You have to do something.
No. To say that there's a woman in Congress who is saying our views and and all of that. It's very different from saying we're going to become a co-ed organization. Those are completely different things. To say that there's some women that are lending us a hand, that there's some women involved or whatever, what you're saying is you need to pander. What if you had 10,000 women watching your show? What if you had women working your organization?
I'm not saying
That's
you need to
different than
pander
saying,
to them.
"Oh, legendary authors on the foundation, and we support a female congresswoman." These are the
There's
exceptions.
nothing. What part of your movement is incomprehensible to women? Like what? Like I don't know why you think you have to pander. Like I think there are probably
It's not
women
about
that are
pandering.
You just said pander. It was your word.
Yeah, I was the
You're
one who
saying I should pander to women.
No,
You're
no one is saying
I
you should
to
pander.
women.
Just don't be so fucking anti-woman, and you'll probably be okay.
I'm not anti-woman. I'm not.
You literally are saying women
anti-woman.
aren't welcome in your political movement. How much more anti-woman can you get?
That because for the same reason that I wouldn't say that I want to be the mother of a child because I'm a man, okay? And men and women have separate domains. It's not anti-woman.
Okay, so then you don't want women in your political
movement.
movement.
Women should do one
So
thing.
tell Marjorie
I'm saying that
Taylor
as a
Greene to
rule.
quit and never partake in politics again. That would be the
This is all
consistent
very
position.
fun because you're a feminist and you're a woman, but this is the way that society's worked
I'm
forever.
not a
okay?
feminist.
Oh my
I
goodness.
agree with a lot of the
You are a
analysis
feminist.
you
all,
have.
All women are feminists.
She is
all
a
women
feminist.
So
are
wait,
That is
does that
true.
mean Marjorie Taylor
That
Greene
is
is a
true and
feminist
based.
and you're supporting a feminist?
I think that, yeah, in a sense, all women are feminists.
They can't help themselves.
That's
Sorry,
true.
I'm just kidding. I'm on the left now. No, that's a good thing. They are all feminists. I agree.
What you're talking about is very different. You're saying it's a co-ed organization or a movement that's broadly welcoming to females. The message of the movement is this. Women's domain is in the house. Women's domain is as they make the nest. It doesn't mean they don't leave the house, by the way, but it means that they're not
Ooh.
being pushed in the workforce. It means that they're not going to be running for president. It means they're not going to be lawyers and all this kind of
So
thing.
wait, can I get a
That's our
allowed
view.
to leave the house little printout card to give to,
You shouldn't have left the
Yeah?
house. You shouldn't have left the house.
Can I-
Look-
can I
look
get
at
a
the
Nick
rampage.
Fuentes allowed
Look
to
at
leave
the
the house
rampage
ticket
you
to
went
use?
on over the past years. You blew up Generation Identity. You blew up the alt-right. You
How did
should've
I
never
blow
left the
up?
house.
How
It
did
would've
I
been
blow up
different. It would've
Generation
been different.
Identity?
Oh, we could get into that. But I don't want to relitigate all this ancient history that I was
Wait,
basically a
no,
fetus. when
how
I
did
was-
that
Oh, so
happened?
now you want to bring up. So after you bitched out of the earlier fights,
bitch out.
now you want to bring up the conflict.
I'm
Oh,
just
look
saying-
at
I've
you
never
guys.
had any
Pretty
conflict.
Look at you two.
I've never had
The
any-
trail of destruction in her wake. She would have been
Disappointing.
better off.
Unbelievable.
I've never had
She
any
never left the
conflict with
house.
GI. Never conflict.
Look
never
at
any
Faith
conflict
Goldie.
with
Look
them.
at Faith Goldie had her kid, and now
Wait, she's got a kid?
Where is she? Where is she?
Wait,
she's gone.
She had a kid?
I don't know if that's public, but she's married. Okay, she's,
And had a
she's
kid.
starting her family.
Oh, good for her.
Didn't mean to say that, but point
Uh-oh.
being is, where is she? Where is she? I don't see her on this panel. She's not here. She's at home, and that's consistent with what she said. And that's where it should be. And you left this total. You went this rampage and left all this destruction in
This
your wake. That now I gotta clean
rampage.
up. I gotta clean it up. You and Milo and all these other people, you had your fun, and now leave it to the Zoomer, leave it to me to come and sweep up the shit and build AFPAC.
What are we,
without
boomers?
any women? Without any women. And by the way, no Katie McHughes and not Peter Sweden's girlfriend, who turned out to be a fucking fad. How's that for a little? Peter Sweden's girlfriend was a literal MI6 agent, but I'm being told we need women in the movement. And Katie McHugh, she was in the movement. She gave the email server to BuzzFeed and got fucking everybody pissed. No women in the movement.
How many men have turned out to be feds in these movements?
None in my circles.
Really? None in any of these circles? None of any of these people have been Hope Not Hate or any of the fucking.
I don't know
Really?
why,
None of
but
my-
the
none of
Peter
my cat
Sweden thing,
boys
the Peter Sweden
are
thing just
leaving
doesn't
the-
surprise me for some reason.
Yeah, he's a nice man.
He's
but-
a nice man, but the honeypot thing, I could see a lot of sweet boys falling for fed honeypots, unfortunately.
Many cautionary tales. Merritt Corrigan was another one. Merritt Corrigan
Wait.
was making out with every guy at AFPAC
No.
1, and then she goes and dates Jacob Wall, and he steals her phone. And he's like a total hardcore Zionist. You can't have these people around. It's a destiny. It's like oil and water. It's like whites and blacks. Doesn't mix. No, that's a joke, obviously. I love whites and blacks. But point is, it doesn't mix. You can't have them in here. They're nothing but trouble, Destiny. You'll see. If you ever try to build something like I'm building, you'll see. You'll learn the hard way, and
But
I'll be there for
shouldn't
you.
you teach your men self-control? Such self-control that you can be a boys-only organization. I actually think boys-only schools, women's-only schools, I think that's good. Especially growing up. You're right. Genders can't control themselves. We have issues when we're around each other, for sure. But can you not build a men's organization that also has the capacity for self-control if your walls are infiltrated by women, by teaching them those abilities instead of just saying, if we ever leave the quarantine bubble, it's all going to fall apart.
And you build a men's organization, but also that has women? No,
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying make them capable of being around women.
Yeah, they are. And like I said, there many of the men, I just went to a wedding this weekend. Like half the people at this wedding, they're all groypers, they're all in the organization, they're all married. So it's not about being able to control yourself. It's just about what is the dynamic of the team? What's the dynamic of the group? People in this thing are getting married and they're dating and they're having perfectly normal relationships. But the question is, what do we want in the team? You don't bring a girl out of the basketball team. You don't bring a girl out of the hockey team. Yeah, they've got their wives and girlfriends outside of it, but they're not on the team. And
but there's a difference here. These teams like these, like sports, are just there to represent sports and sports fans. You're building a political movement that's supposed to represent populations of people that are necessarily going to be tied to both women, their outcomes, and women are going to participate in them, right? Like if you want to run a country,
by their husbands.
What about the unmarried ones?
Well, they should be married. I don't care
answer.
about that.
Okay,
I don't care about the unmarried. The unmarried.
You care about the unmarried men, though, right?
Yeah, because the males are the leaders. The males are the leaders of the houses.
Every single male, they're not leaders of the household. They're not married. They don't have a household. You know who are the leaders of their household? Their dads are, because they still live with their parents.
And to some extent, I don't think they should be voting either. I think that you should be enfranchised, need to earn it. I don't think that everyone should we be representing necessarily. I mean, we're going to take care of everybody, but does necessarily some bum crackhead on the street deserve a voice?
We're talking about bum crackheads on the street. We're talking about a guy that's 24 that still lives with his parents. He's not married yet. You don't want to represent those people in your movement?
Do we want to represent goofballs? I mean, the thing is, you're talking about representative forms of government or something. You're running a political movement, represents people in the society. I think that the revolutionary movement should be comprised of people that are leaders in the society, and the society should be led by leaders. And it sounds like a tautology, but point being is, do we want bums that are baristas? That
you want to be able to have
representing everything. I mean, you're like
on a serious level. You want whatever political movement you have to be transformative to the people that join. You don't want to take already completed people and only completed people into your movement. You want to be able to convert people as well. No, that should be a goal. I would hope that somebody that listens to me that doesn't align with my values over time will start to. I'm not looking for people that only already fully agree with and live in and have bought into my lifestyle. So I feel like your goal should be pretty similar. You're not just looking for the men that are already finished products. You want to mold people as well. No, you're literally a political leader, not like a YMCA chairhead or whatever, right? You're looking for people to mold and shape.
Yeah, that's true. But what does that have to do with representing women? I don't understand
this goes to your point about I don't want men that aren't married, or I don't want women that aren't married, or whatever. Of course you do. I'm
talking about representation. I'm not talking about because there's obviously.
I'm talking about representation in your political movement, not who should be able to vote.
It's not a fucking pamphlet, dude. We want people in here that are going to be the best team members. We don't need to get the diversity.
But you can't make better team members. They have to come to you already done.
Women can never become great team members, in my opinion. I don't know.
What about you? Literally talked about Marjorie Taylor Greene earlier. Is she not a great team member?
Michelle Malkin.
The thing is, like I said, those are allies and those are exceptions.
That's the point.
So they can.
You have a movement. The point.
It's not.
I think
you're missing the point.
You want to fundamentally because what you're talking about is fundamentally changing the composition and the structure of how it works. You're saying women need representation in the movement. The reason Michelle Malkin's there is not because we're giving women representation or something.
Right. This has been my argument the whole time, Nick, is you let women compete, a lot of them are probably going to fail because it's simply true that men tend to have higher IQs, higher strength, all this.
What's the thesis statement? What's the thesis statement? This is just more of the same.
You let people compete and men will probably win, but some women will succeed and they'll be on par with the men who succeed.
And that
but you don't put
that men and women are interchangeable, but they're
not. No, they're not. Of course they're not. There's major
hold on.
differences,
let's say this
but
in a more
certain fields they can compete.
Let's say this in a more Jordan Peterson friendly way, okay? Here. Do you agree that there's a huge curve of where men sit, where some men are leaders, and not all men are leaders, and some men just suck? Do you agree with that, Nick? Probably? Not every man can be a strong political...
Pareto distribution, yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Sure. If we look at women, of the overlap between men and women, there's probably going to be more men that can contribute to your movement than women can, right? But there are going to be a lot of women at the tail end of that curve that are probably going to be able to outperform some of the men in the middle. There's probably going to be some there, right? Come
I
on,
don't dispute
the answer has to be
hang on,
yes.
hang
And
on.
as long as the answer to that is yes, why wouldn't you try to get a way to get those people into your movement, right? If there are going to be some women, the best woman in the world is going to be better than the average groiper, right? And like a 99th percentile woman is probably going to be better than a 40th percentile groiper. So why wouldn't you have a movement that's open to those types of people coming in? Nobody's saying that like the groipers need to be 50-50. But like maybe possibly being 95-10 or 90-10, maybe there's a space there for women to participate.
99-1.
Well, hang on. I don't think we're in disagreement then. If it's 95-5, I think it probably is something like 95-5.
Yeah, but your rhetoric is putting you in a position where it's going to be 100-0. That's the rhetoric you have.
It isn't, but effectively it is not. Obviously.
I don't know if that's the case. You just kicked out a guy who had a girlfriend. Right?
That's not. No, I kicked out a lazy guy who wasn't doing his job.
Yeah, but part of it had to do with
that.
I don't know. When I listen to you,
I encourage him to get the girl. I encourage him to get the girlfriend. He admitted that. It doesn't do with that.
All right, I could be. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe just the way that I'm hearing it. My progressive brain hears this, but it kind of sounds like you're aiming for a 100-0 organization. That's what it sounded like to me.
But that's not even what it is, and it's almost. I mean, we just went through all this fucking crap, and at the end of it, you're going to say, well, maybe you have a 95-5. It is 95-5 practically. I mean, that's what we're kind of talking about. Isn't
sure,
it?
but that's not what the rhetoric that you were aimed at earlier. The rhetoric you were aimed at earlier was absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that it should not be like.
Okay, wait. So hold on, wait. This is the part of the argument that I pull the concession from you. So you think that the strongest groiper movement, a groiper movement that's composed of 95% men, is a stronger groiper movement than the one composed of 100% men?
I don't know. I don't know about that hypothetical.
Oh, so weak, very weak. I'm not disappointed.
I don't know. I don't know if it would be better or worse. I think that. I think it depends on who the 5% is. I think that a 100% male, yeah. So
it's not going to be AOCs, obviously.
Well,
it's going to be Marjorie Taylor Greenes and shit.
Well, yeah, and it's going to depend on the kind of people because you notice the women that are in this are married. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is married. Michelle Malkin is married.
Sure, it could be married women. It could be single women too. You know?
So no, but there aren't too many single women sniffing around that.
All right, then say that. Then give me that one. Then say no single women allowed in this movement. I don't want any single women at all.
Yeah, even then, I mean, if it's 95-5, again, it just depends on who the people are. But we're talking about different things. To say that you've got a male organization with some married women is very different than saying your organization is all men and you're missing out on all the female potential and you should be welcoming to women. Those are two different things. It is effectively a male organization with some women
who
are married. That's different than saying give women a chance. Let women. Lauren over here is saying. Women compete freely.
No, you know what?
Invite a man and let him compete, and may the best man or woman win. Those are different things.
I have decided.
Me and Destiny sound like we're on the same page.
I have decided you are the true feminist, Nick. You are the only man out here that is holding women to a high standard if they want to be a part of something. All these other organizations are like, you're a woman, fine. We'll make you, treasurer of the government. Great. Woman, 50% quota. You're like, if you want to be in this organization, you have to be the best of the best woman. That is some feminist energy
here come
right
the Jewish
there.
debate tactics.
I love it.
I
love it.
Lauren Simonson with the straw mans right there. Nice.
All night with the Jewish.
My Jewish tricks. Yeah. Speaking of, we're going to have to schedule my Jewish tricks, the further ones I have planned for another time, because I do have some woman time that I've scheduled to decompress that I was supposed to start 15 minutes ago. But because I'm a woman and Jewish, I clearly lied to this person and I'm joining their call late. So... were there any last? Did we want to do this again? Is this something that
I think the audience wins. Whenever we do this, they love the content, so I'm down to do it again.
All right.
Look at you. Even in your own online content, you want to be associated with a woman.
Oof. That's a
big.
I'm just saying.
Sex
I'm just saying. Okay.
Sex sells.
You could also sell memberships. Yeah. Just DM me whenever you guys want to chat again. Have fun.
All right. We'll do this again soon, guys. Have a good one.
Okay.
All right. So long.